What's going on, guys? Today I'm here with my good friend Jeremiah Ofori of ProRestore Reconstruction Services. Today we're going to be getting into some of his new construction projects. You know, we're going to talk about how he sourced the land, the conversations with the municipality around zoning changes, some of the products that went into the property, how the exit strategy is working out for him, and just, you know, his overall experience in the reconstruction business, being a real estate investor as well, the flips, the history that he's had there, and how that's contributed to his new direction that he's taking his business.
So yeah, we're out in Titusville. These are the new projects we built. There's 4 single-family residential homes from the ground up. We got these lots. I guess we'll start where, how did I acquire these lots and how we go from there. So funny story is, this was the first lot that we bought right here. This was a family member kind of had it and sold it to us. I'd never seen the lot before. I just purchased it. 2 weeks later, I came out to take a look and see what did I buy, and I discovered there was 3 other lots that was just empty and vacant sitting here. And so I did what probably a millennial will probably want to do, is I got on Facebook and found out who owned them and could I find them on Facebook. I felt like that was the easiest and quickest way to try to get a hold of someone, to not seem as commercial or business related, but more of on a personal level. So I found the owner, reached out to him on Facebook and said, hey, I'm a contractor in the area. I'll be building, you know, a house next to you. Wanted to know, did you want to sell the other 3 lots that you own? Give me a call. A week later, after not hearing from her, I thought that was dead. I need to find another way. 7 o'clock at night, the owner gave me a call. Said, absolutely, I'll sell it to you. So we were able to come up and get a deal together, get it done with her, and that's how we were able to get these projects done.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. You know, a shot in the dark is all it takes to be able to, you know, make some money fall in your lap. And it doesn't fall. It requires further work thereafter.
Absolutely,
but, you know, you just got to start, right? That's the whole key to it.
That's the whole thing. And then don't give up, right? It can happen. It doesn't take a 50-year real estate investor to know that. You know, you could be your first day or first weekend and just have that ambition and think outside the box.
I'm excited, man, so let's get into it.
Absolutely.
All right, Jeremiah, it's nice to finally get you under lock and key. It's a pleasure. It's been a minute. We've been working together. So just take me back to like your origin story. You know, how did you get into the construction business and how we got here today?
So I started off, man, I was actually an engineer. So graduated in engineering, started working for different construction companies throughout Orlando. And then I noticed I needed to supplement my income, right? I didn't like working a 9 to 5, and I wanted to try to find something that could supplement that. So I got into flipping houses. And coming from flipping houses, I knew I needed to get my contractor's license. So I went and got my contractor's license and started doing more renovations, more remediation, and then got into new construction. So that's how we get here today, into the new construction department.
Okay. And so when you flipped, what was the timeline when you started flipping houses?
Oh man, I think it was probably about 12 to 15 years ago, man. I got into flipping houses, bought my first house, put a little money into it and sold it and made a profit. You were like, I like the taste of this, man. This works. This is this is easy. It was something that I could do. I could still have my 9 to 5 on the weekend, and you know, in the afternoons, I could put a little time and money and effort into it, and then at the end, I could see a big result.
And so how old were you when you had this first flip?
Oh man, I think I was 23, so it probably was my second year out of college. So not a lot of money. I went ahead and financed the deal, got a conventional loan, and then put some of my sweat equity money into it.
And so that's a pretty young age, man, to be out here taking out deals like that. A lot of people.
You could do it. You could do it. You know, don't be scared. You know, people been doing it before the end of time. Whether it's house hacking, buying a house that, you know, maybe you live in a garage and you rent out the house, or vice versa.
That's what's up. And so what time was your daughter born in this whole process?
She probably was born maybe 3 years after I started flipping.
And then how did her birth influence your relationship with your job and with the real estate investing that you were doing?
So when she was born, it really showed me that I needed to find a way to try to hold on to some of this real estate. Because when I first started, it was basically just flip, right? Just take the cash. But once you got the cash, what do you do with it, right? So if holding on to some of this real estate for long term kind of changed, and that was my play at that point, trying to hold on to some of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then fast forward a little bit of time, you know, and you transition from just primarily focusing on flips from your personal investment side to then you leave your W-2 and start ProRestore reconstruction services.
Yeah, so after a while, as I got comfortable and I found I can do more, actually my daughter being born also showed me that I didn't have all this time on the weekend and after night, so I started creating a crew.
Okay.
So after creating a crew and having them being able to facilitate going through the homes, doing the work, I noticed, hey, I can get multiple houses and do this even more, right? But one of the caveats was that niche. How was I going to differentiate myself from other investors who were doing the same thing, buying, holding, and flipping? And so my niche was the mold side of it.
Okay.
Because one of the deals that I did have, it needed mold remediation. And I noticed how profitable that was on the contractor side of things. Yeah. And so when I tied it all together, my niche was to get homes with mold because that was better suited to make a profit.
That's incredible. And so, you know, the mold business was how you differentiated your offering, right?
Yep.
But did it perform at the level that you always thought it would? Talk about that.
Yeah, it did. So leaving my 9 to 5, as I started thinking about that, I started noticing, well, I'm gonna need something to offset and be able to support myself.
Yeah.
And I knew that the mold work was profitable enough and it was scalable enough where that, you know, I can kind of generate revenue from that. And it'll help me feed into the construction side of things. Yeah. So I was able to pretty much grow that business. And to answer your question, yeah, it was always profitable. Okay. It was able to really do what I thought it would do.
And I mean, we saw that now with the most recent hurricane that just came through. And, you know, we always think about hurricanes, South Florida, flooding, water damage. You know, we had the one down there in Naples on the West Coast. We had the one that touched Miami. I mean, Miami, Brickell, they're constantly under, you know, threat of floods. But no one ever thinks Central Florida, Orlando is going to have water damage issues. And we just had a glut of homes that were really decimated by the last hurricane.
So just now, I mean, they're targeting over $100 billion just went into this storm. It's 6 months later and we're still dealing with flood projects, you know, from the water damage from the latest hurricane. And we're running into hurricane season in the next 2 months again. So that side of the business, the damage restoration side, it's a well-known industry and it does well.
That's fantastic. And so let's rewind a little bit. Talk to me about how you built your crews and how you were able to, you know, source labor to aid in the mold remediation business as well as the reconstruction side.
So as everybody knows, in Florida, it's always hard to find good help, skilled labor. You know, so it started out with just 2 skilled guys who are well versed. Obviously, you got to pay them well to keep them, and then training them to be able to do both. You know, the mold remediation side, the damage restoration side, along with their skill craft, whether it be drywall, paint, or whatever. So to get to where I'm at now, it's taken almost 6 years to develop and hold good talent. I think we're at that point now where we kind of got a good group in-house and we can kind of develop and grow the business from there.
Okay. So with the onset of the creation of ProRestore, you know, and having a family and having just transitioned from your W2 job, like that's a heavy lift, you know. So speak about how you were able to do that, how you worked in partnership with people that you came into connection with to you know, stabilize the business and help it grow.
Yeah, I mean, everything's a heavy lift, whether you're working a 9 to 5 and your supervisor come and dump more work in your lap and you got to figure out how to get it done, or you're just trying to basically grow a business and put in that time. No matter what is a heavy lift.
Everything is a heavy lift, but to that point, like we're all comforted by that consistency of that bi-weekly paycheck. You know, when you set out to go on your own and go hunting, you're tasked with bringing home the bacon literally every day and everything that you do.
And you know, I guess it falls into your character, what type of character you have. I'm confident in myself and my ability to go out, stand in front and get work and be able to get accomplish it and close it out. And so with that being said, I feel like the harder you work, the more money you can get or you potentially make. And I feel like, you know, I can do that. So I was pretty confident that I could drive it home and be able to support my family with it. Because I'm not afraid to work hard. So
I love it. And so we've done some deals together, you know, not me particularly. Antoinette is my better half. She's not here at present, but talk about just like the understanding of our business, how we operate Airbnbs and how, you know, we've earned income and how it's a little different from, say, the active work of being a contractor and having to bid for jobs and go out there and just like that supplemental income that is a little more passive. Talk about your transition into trying to achieve more passive earnings.
Yeah, so typically my thought has always been, you know, a contractor is what I am, so I'm gonna stay in that realm of things, right? The harder I work, I can be able to, you know, set my own destiny of how much money I make. But, you know, at the same time, you know, investing is a part of me, and I know passive income, money when I'm on vacation, money when I'm on a project, money when I'm working, and money when I'm asleep is obviously a better track record, a better way of thinking. And also being able to have real estate that's just gonna only depreciate over time and go up and be able to make more money. So that's totally understandable.
I mean, we were at what, the Ari Lennox concert at House of Blues, and I remember we had a reservation come through for like $1,500, and I was like, money in the bank. And all I'm doing is, you know, drinking a beer and jamming along to some tunes, and it's a great feeling.
It's a great feeling. So I'm on the same path. My main goal was to obviously set up a construction company that will always have work, but also just make sure that's being able to fund my passive income and investment strategies. And so, you know, that development time was needed, but now is able to help me create growth by obviously being able to build homes, remodel homes, and create that passive income because the equity is kind of in there already.
I'm so excited for you pivoting into this space of investing and just mindset, because like I know countless individuals who are a part of real estate, but they're in a very active aspect of real estate, whether it be realtors, contractors, what have you, because, you know, you constantly have to chase the next transaction. So when that volume slows down, be it from, you know, uncontrollable macroeconomic shifts or demographic shifts that are just, you know, things you can't control, it impacts your ability to have that security for your family, for yourself, you know, financially. And so like there's so many ways that you can utilize the experience that you already have in different lanes within the broader real estate space that just can give you more peace of mind and reassurance. And so to see you doing that is phenomenal, because like, you know, if you're not, like, change is the only constant, you know, time is going to keep on ticking by. And so like, the dinosaurs were once here on the planet, but they extinct now. Why? Because they weren't able to adapt to the new environment.
No, I agree with that. I mean, one of the things is, you know, we would invest and buy a lot of flips and homes that was just, you know, whether you call them rehabs or horrible horror houses. And now when it dried up to so many people coming into the market, you know, one of the lanes that I seen was open was the land, you know, the bare land platform. So we rolled into that. We bought a lot of lands, vacant lands, and we started building from the ground up. You know, it gave us that switch where we can pivot off and not look for, you know, homes that needed to be rehabbed, but just go ahead and create new homes from the ground up for the market and hold on to some of them for rentals, which is totally another lane. So I
love that. I feel like whenever you talk to a lot of wholesalers, they're always like, man, if I would have just, you know, held on to some deals, you know, longer, became an equity partner in some some kind of way. The dividends, the returns that they receive down the road are just like far greater than that immediate cash infusion.
Exactly.
You know, so it's like investing, making smart short-term decisions with the long-term goals and outcomes being the primary motivator, I think is crucial to, you know, being able to,
I agree,
not survive, but thrive. You know, because
I agree.
we know top wholesaler in the region that just shut all his business down, you know, multi-million-dollar earner every year. But the pandemic really kind of crushed his business. And, you know, because he wasn't invested in other ways, he's now trying to rebrand, reformulate a way to participate in the market. And we're trying to help him with that, you know, because we want to see everybody be successful. And it's just like, sometimes you miss the forest, all the opportunity out there for the tree, the one tree that's just, you're staring at the entire time, you know?
No, I agree. But these are some of the projects that we have here, man. They're new construction projects. We're able to get them done, get them built. These are about 1,300 square foot homes. We're able to put them up, you know, on the investment side at our cost at about $140,000, $150,000. They retail for about $300,000. So you can see that, you know, there's a good margin on it. We already have the team in house to be able to manage these projects. We got the, you know, the crews and the subs to be able to get them done quick. You know, from groundbreaking to closing, we're about 4.5 months. So we're able to get them done pretty quick, stay in the market trends and get it done. The house we're actually sitting in right now, we kind of put this one on the market when we flew trusses. So that's about, you know, 40% of the time it takes to start the house, and it got sold, you know, before the trusses was set. So it's already pre-sold, it's already done, money in the bank. 2 days after CO, we were able to actually go to closing. So we're still able to find ways to make money. We got some commercial properties that we're going to swing into too, with some multifamily projects, and finding a way to make money, switching up the lanes, and going from there.
I love it, and especially to give some context right now, you know, the broader economy, we're experiencing what people think is going to be a recession. You know, people have been screaming recession for the last 2 years. Have they not, you know? And so, like, my point is, scared money don't make no money.
Scared money don't make money.
You know?
And it's also just being able to plan and have different strategies. You know, so we got so much equity in this house. Let's just say we did hit a downturn in the middle of construction. Rent's rent, and someone's got to live here, right? So even if we just go ahead and say, all right, we got a new structure, we still got 50% of the equity into it, we're going to go ahead and, you know, whatever you got, whether it's construction or you're doing cash, you can go ahead and rent it out and live to fight another day. Recessions go and they come. At the end of the day, even if we hit a recession, in 2 years, this home will still be worth, you know, $340,000, maybe $300,000 to $340,000.
So let's just slow down real quick for the audience, right? We're talking about a lot of numbers, right? So your all-in cost for the construction of this property is $140,000? Okay. $140,000. And so your terms on the lending for this new construction is what?
So for the lender that I used for these, well, I guess what the audience don't know is there's actually a whole cul-de-sac. So there's 4 homes that we built all together. We didn't package the lending together. We actually did lending on each property. The reason why we did that is because once these homes close, they can close individually, and we can go ahead and take the profit off that So if I decide to keep 2, sell 2,
it gives you a lot of
keep
flexibility.
3.
That's real smart.
It definitely, that's the point. It gives you flexibility. So the lending on this project was 9%. So we went ahead, we already acquired the land cash. So we came to the table with minimum funds, and they were able to go ahead and do the lending for us, the construction lending, and it's all based on draws. So we basically take the money as we build it, and we get it done pretty much at a fast pace.
And so that 9% is over is it for the year for that one total cost of the lending, the $140,000 that you borrowed?
No, so this lender had a 6 month. 6 months. So within
points?
6 months, So no, not points.
No points. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. 2 points for the origination of it. 9% total. And the way it is basically it's interest on the money taken.
Got you.
And so I was able to go ahead and produce these homes with 80% of the money with the lending. So what that means is I only took 80% of the draws that was set up, and I was able to get them done. We had a few cost savings on the project that came handy and helped us out.
Yeah.
So we only pay interest on 80% of that money for the time period. Okay. If you close in 4 months or you close in 3 months, the lender obviously want to be able to make some money. Mm-hmm. So they still want the percentage or the interest for that 6 month period.
Gotcha.
If it extends out to a year, that's totally fine also.
Yeah.
If we decide to hold on and just go ahead and keep the same lending, we could go ahead and keep the same lending and put a renter in here, which is, my strategy or plan B. Yeah. If I can't get things sold quicker and be able to pay the mortgage.
Yeah. And so speaking of getting things sold, you haven't had an issue. I mean, we're
absolutely not. Absolutely not. So funny thing about these projects is that there's 4 of them. And although we went on market doing trusses, so pre-construction, within 1 week, we were able to get offers on pretty much all of them. So we haven't seen an issue, even with the high interest rates that, worry everyone. People are still buying, people are still selling. My main thing is price it right and it'll sell fast. Yeah. If you try to get more than what the market is, obviously you'll see that it'll probably affect you and start hurting you.
And I think one other thing that contributes to the success that you're having is you're serving an underserviced community or demographic of home buyers that typically is, out there fighting for their lives because there's not enough stock on the market in that price point.
That too, and we're also looking at the blue collar worker, right? Yeah. Those middle class workers that needs a certain price point. We're not. Our target right now is not always $1 million homes or $700,000 home, but it's the workers who are your average people, right? Your bus drivers, your nurses, your plumbers, whatever it is. So that's the need, and they're still going to be working. We still need them no matter how the economy turns. Yeah. So that's pretty much what it is.
That's awesome. And I think the area that you're in is fantastic because you're still major metro adjacent. You know, Titusville here, you got Orlando booming, lots of growth. Central Florida has been a phenomenal area. I think you've got some 1,000, 1,200 people move to the state every day, and then you've got the Space Coast on down there with, SpaceX, NASA, Blue Origin, yada, yada, etc. And you're really not too far from Jacksonville, which is experiencing a huge boom. Exactly. So location, price point, it seems like you hit all the nails on the head, and I'm excited for what you guys doing. One last thing I want to touch on, going back to the land piece, because as we just talked about, a lot of the favorable investment metrics that Florida has displayed, that creates a lot of competition. As you said, there are a lot of people moving into the market trying to look for yield, look for return, and that creates a lot of competition. Yeah. And so, I personally know several VPs at large home builders who are just recession, interest rates be damned, these land guys are not moving off their prices. Yeah. Now, granted, they're buying, large parcels, and they're interacting with different players. I think the Mormon Church own, and then I can't remember the name of the tribe, but they own half of the land in the state of Florida. So you're working with different class of land sellers, but talk about that, finding the land, the price points of the land, etc.
Yeah, so we differentiate ourselves from the big builders. The big builders are looking for large parcels. We're based on our subs and our crews and the ability to self-perform a lot of the work, we can go into smaller communities and find individual lots. So for this group of lots, it actually was 5 lots all together in one cul-de-sac, right? So we targeted that. The big builders of the world, the Pulte Homes and the KBs, they're looking for 25 to 30 acre lots where they can subdivide and do, 0 lot line, maybe 200 homes, and that's just not our target, right? We're in the communities. We're finding, groups or clusters of 2 to 5 properties or lots that's already platted, maybe already subdivided, and that's kind of what we're targeting. So it's just a little bit different in what we're looking for and what we make it. We can still make a great profit with just 2 to 4 homes than the KB homes. Being that they have a lot more overhead than us, they needed to have a little bit more skin in the game. Their spread got to be a little bit higher.
I got you. Yeah. So when you found these, there was some question about how you were going to possibly subdivide them. I remember their zoning was...
Yeah, so when I originally bought these lots, I actually thought I could get some of the zoning changed to be able to do duplexes.
Okay.
Obviously, more doors on one lot is obviously more financially better for me, better return. But due to the way it was platted, they were just single family homes. So we were stuck with it. We didn't want to spend a year trying to fight the state and the municipality. And the other thing we didn't want to do, we didn't really want to cluster the neighborhood, right? If it couldn't support, 8 families instead of the 4 that we have here, then we don't want to overcrowd the neighborhood. So we went ahead and just went with the single family homes.
I love it, man. Like, investors get a bad rap all the time, but you just laid out several aspects of you being conscious and considerate of the community that you're trying to contribute to and add value to. And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, man.
So like in your conversations with the municipality, I know you've had extensive experience in Orlando, Kissimmee, and you deal with the counties and what have you, like out here in Titusville, what was the process, and would you say it was favorable? Were there some takeaways that you like the relationship you learned how you can do better in managing that process?
I'll say Titusville, of all the municipalities I dealt with, they understood me. They understood what we were doing to the community. They've been very helpful, and they've been happy to see us basically do a couple of things. And I think a lot of municipalities miss this with investors. They always think that, we're out for the dollar, but in return, we're actually increasing their tax revenue. We're providing affordable homes and, in different capacities, different areas, we do different things, but we're providing homes for people in their community. And so Titusville, the city of Titusville totally understood that. Any questions from the inspectors to the plan reviewers, they really understood that. They really supported us. They really helped us think it through and do what was right for the community. So, they, hands down to them, they really helped us and they showed us they like us being here.
And the flip that we did in Pembroke Pines, I felt like we had that same relationship with the city planners down there at the office, the inspectors, being able to call them. City of Orlando, they don't give out any phone number to anybody. They just show up whenever, hit you with a bunch of just craziness all the time. And so,
the inspectors out here actually shared their personal phone numbers with me from day one. And to be honest, they know that I was new to the area coming from Orlando over here. They knew, they ran down to me, hey, just be aware, these are the differences between Orlando and Titusville. And, for people who don't know, it's a little bit different in Titusville. Titusville is on the coast of Florida. So some of the requirements are a little bit different, i.e. in Orlando, we don't need impact windows. Over here in Titusville, they need impact windows. The wind rating for construction overall is a little bit different. In Orlando, it's about 120, 130. Over here on the coast is 150 to 165. So just those little differences create a little bit of a difference on how municipalities, help us and guide us on the contractor side.
So we were actually just out in Ocala, the other week. We were talking with a wholesaler friend of ours who's, born and raised in Ocala and who has done fairly well throughout the years. And just, seeing the success that you can have in small markets.
Absolutely.
I think that people completely miss the value that they can provide and receive in return in a reciprocity type of way, because we're always just attracted to the coasts, like the East Coast, West Coast, and just major metros. And while yes, broader population migration patterns are over the years showing that people are migrating towards major metros, but these tertiary, secondary markets that are surrounding these places are still very vibrant, still pose a lot of opportunity from an investing standpoint that newbies and pros alike can reap the benefits from.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree.
I appreciate it, Jim.
All right, no problem, man. Yeah, no problem.
Are these all 3.2s?
They're all 3.2s. Of course, like I said, this one doesn't have a garage, which is the only difference.
Okay.
All of them I try to build with an open floor plan concept. Everything's open from the living room here, kitchen, dining room, split floor plan where you got the master on one side of the house, the other bedrooms on the other.
Yeah.
Laundry room in the back. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so the square footage of this property?
The square footage of this property is a little over 1,200, so right around 1,300 square feet.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the standard for first time entry level home, so we try to stay in that, and it fits the neighborhood. Most homes in the neighborhood is about 1,100 to 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
And then so we built that about 13.
And so I know we talked about earlier the all-in cost and the financing component for you. And just in my brief research, 3.2s in this area, the monthly rent averages anywhere between $1,850 to about $2,200 a month.
Absolutely.
And so your monthly holding costs would be what?
So
Worst case scenario if we're not able to sell.
So I would say the worst case holding costs would, granted we got a little bit of a higher interest based on these construction loans are set up. Right now the payment somewhere is around $1,400.
Okay.
So even if we come in and, have to go to strategy B, which is a rental, holding for a rental, we'll still cash flow a positive $500 every month based on the rent, being able to get it at about $1,800 or $2,000.
That's incredible. And so in the meantime, while you're holding, you're still able to make money,
Absolutely.
not lose money. Absolutely. And then given the lack of supply that we have just in the broader Florida, Central Florida market, likelihood of you experiencing price appreciation and equity growth over whatever this holding period is very high, very strong.
Oh, absolutely.
And
definitely.
so,
without a doubt, we're gonna see that.
Yeah. And so it's a win-win, baby.
No, it's definitely a win-win, without a doubt. And basically, we're not even done. Again, we're still just now COing these properties, and I think we have about 5 people on the waiting list to try to get in here as a rental. Okay. This property, since it doesn't have a garage, this is one of them I will be holding for a rental. So, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Incredible. Yeah.